Welcome to the stage. Thank you so much for joining us at Tech.eu. I'm giving you the opportunity just to do a little introduction about yourself and also your company. So Richard, if you'd like to start with that.
Okay. Do you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm coming from the company DoDo, a last mile technology and data-driven company, European-wide. We are enabling retailers to be online on the same day delivery, and we are using our platform to be very efficient and to be precise in the delivery and being efficient in the cost price finally.
And I'm Bobby Healy, CEO and founder of Manna Drone Delivery. We are backed by Molten Ventures, and we are doing magical 3-minute delivery by air of everything from coffee to onions to grocery and everything in between.
On that note, what's the most popular delivery item?
Coffee, yeah. 30+%. We do about 200 to 300 deliveries a day in this town in Dublin. And coffee, cappuccino, Americano. 30+% of volume is from the coffee shop.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's impressive. Yeah, so maybe I'll start with you, Richard. I mean, we've seen over the last couple of years a lot of food delivery companies in particular losing valuation, whether it's somewhere like Swiggy, and I had to write this bit down, I think their value is now something like 11.5 billion. It used to be 22 billion in valuation. In Europe, there's been also a lot of acquisitions. So I'd be curious with that because we're talking companies like Gorillas, Cate, Vlcek, all sort of combining each other. Do you consider these fire sales, or is it sort of natural selection or market sorting itself out? You know, where do you sit with it?
Yeah, actually, peaks and lows on the market. It's quite usual and natural thing. And if the past 2 years, and having a significantly growing market in the past 2 years, I think that we are now in a time of correction. And it's, I think, very healthy for the market to be in a time of the correction. Mergers and acquisitions you mentioned, it's very normal to the market. And after this 2 years and many newcomers and many newcomers coming into this type of the market, I think that this time of cleaning of the market right now is very healthy. And still, there is a huge demand from the customer for this type of the service, but this merge is helping so to the customer. Generally, I think it's a natural thing, as you mentioned in the very beginning, but still you are asking if we are on the growing market, and I think we are in a growing market, because thinking about the food and grocery as a business, it's the online part of it is still growing, because we are on grocery about on 5% of deliveries online, and so the analysts expect growth to the 10%. We are talking about the business in a size of the 1.5 trillion euros. And if we imagine 10% out of it being online, which means so significant growth for the last mile of delivery.
I know I'm a very enthusiastic online shopper myself. I use all the services.
Me too.
But I mean, I know your business, for example, you've scaled successfully across regions, which is something a lot of companies have struggled to do. What's been the real learnings or the secrets there?
For the expansion, it's quite usual. Of course, the basic one is the product price, people around, this is a knowledge from the past. But now we are transferring this, of course, to the product. We are offering the product which customer wants. We have the good price, which means the sustainability, because that's about it. We have a sustainable business model, delivering for the good price and still creating a profit. And of course, having the people which are delivering the expansion, which are delivering to us the easy solution. And for us, this solution for us, it's a franchising, having the franchise partners who are helping us to grow.
Great.
This is picturing in our way, in our business. This is showing our way how we are expanding, which is making it easier for us to expand.
And I guess in a related vein, Bobby, I know, for example, that Amazon with their drone delivery Prime Air, they were promising something like 10,000 deliveries in a year. And I think it's been something like 100, which is a pretty big difference.
Not 100,000, 100, yeah.
Yeah, it's not great, huh? And they've also obviously laid off a sizable amount of people. I mean, I know you expanded to the US. I mean, what were the lessons there, and how does it differ as a market to drone deliveries in the US?
Well, first I'll address Amazon. There's a lot of focus on Amazon and their apparent failure. Amazon won't fail at this. Amazon will succeed, and they're not in a rush because they're Amazon.
Yeah.
They'll get it right. Nobody needs to worry about that. They're in regulatory purgatory because they're in the United States. Very difficult to fly anywhere. It's nothing to do with their abilities. It's to do with regulatory quagmire that is the USA. We've done 160,000 delivery flights. Google Wing, Google's drone delivery program in your own hometown in Australia, are doing 10 to 20,000 deliveries a month. And so it works, and it works at scale, and the systems involved in scaling drone delivery are well standardized now. So the question of regulatory constraints is gone. Amazon are just in the wrong country, and that's all it is. And the US will get there, but eventually 2 or 3 years behind the rest of us. And then when you look at the rest of what we do or businesses that are in our space, we think that we're going to completely transform retailing and consumption in suburban areas. Like, we're already taking orders for 1 onion, 1 carrot, head of broccoli, a coffee, a teddy bear, a phone. Yeah. All of these some instant or perishable consumption and some not so. But we've taken it to the point already where we have customers that are ordering 50, 60 times a year with us. That's already an order magnitude more than customers that would use road-based delivery with humans. And there's different reasons for that. There's the predictability, there's the time factor, there's the fact that road-based delivery companies use batching to reduce their cost. So as a company, we don't even consider ourselves a technology company, we consider ourselves a logistics company with an unfair advantage. And our unfair advantage is obviously speed, scalability because we're robots, but most importantly, we will exit this year with a profitable operation, both at the unit and the location level. So we're focused on unit economics and producing robots that can deliver magical 8-gallon volume worth of product to customers in, say, an area of about 20 to 30 square miles in a way that instantly makes money, even subscale. And that people need to be thinking about maybe not drone delivery, but automated delivery like that, and how we can assist the big brands.
And I mean, when we talk about a delivery drone in this instance, how does it differ to maybe a non-commercial drone or a hobby drone? Like, what are the main characteristics that make it different?
Yeah, I mean, really it's down to safety and reliability. I mean, I have all the DJI drones. They're wonderful pieces of hardware. They're great consumer experiences, but you couldn't, functionally, by the way, they're better than our drones. They're cooler, they're smaller, but you couldn't safely fly them over. We fly today over 35,000 people in an area of population that's more densely populated than most of London. And we're flying 25-kilo objects at 100 kilometers an hour over the heads of men, women, and children. You don't get a license to do that with a commercial-grade drone. So we have a triplex. We have 3 flight computers. We have 3 GPS units. We have modal redundancy. So if we lose GPS or we're jammed, for example, with GPS jammers, we can survive. We have propulsion redundancy, we have energy redundancy, we have all these things that are expensive, heavy, and difficult, but means that you can be approved by an aviation regulator, which is what we are.
And I mean, sustainability is obviously a key point of any tech news or tech conference at the moment. I mean, I'd be interested to hear from both of you how you're tackling sustainability as a company. I mean, what are the tangible benefits in this kind of last mile delivery? Maybe, Richard, you've got some thoughts?
Yeah, the sustainability and this challenge, that's about the sustainability for us means that we are working on the right price levels. We are able to deliver something to the market which makes a value for the customer and which makes a value so for the shareholders finally. That means that it works and it's delivering the profit now or in the future, and that's how we are thinking about it, and that's what DoDo is doing. We are doing not only the delivery itself, but we are in front of it. There is a capacity planning in front of it. We have a demand prediction. We are doing the dynamic pricing to really utilize the time of the customer. And then, of course, in the system, the other things which are influencing it is for example, we need to manage the fleet, which is a different. Of course, we can use the drones, maybe. We can use the cars. We need to combine them together, and we need to manage them differently, and having the system which are able to manage. And of course, you are managing the workforce at the end. And this all together delivers a sustainable solution, finally. And this is how we are doing it. This is the magic.
Very cool.
So, I mean, the way we think about it is a number of ways. In ESG, you have environmental, social, governance. For us, the environmental part is easy because we're electric aircraft. We use less energy than an electric bike uses to do the same delivery. So we have an easy win there. On the social side, we look at it two ways. One is the number of delivery cyclists or cars that are involved in accidents on our roads every year is staggering. The deaths and the injuries, 88 in Amsterdam alone in 2020, 88 delivery drivers in one city in ambulances with critical injuries to hospital delivering burritos. And we fixed that. No more road-based delivery involving humans. But a more important social aspect of what we're bringing is the job creation. The local bookstore that we power in Dublin kicks Amazon's ass with delivery. They get to 35,000 people in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. And so by bringing this infrastructure to suburban communities around the world, we're empowering small businesses and big businesses to compete with the big giants on an equal level footing. Because last mile, as you know well, right, that's the hard part of doing business, right? It's all bricks and mortar and trying to get people to walk by your shop. But if you're baking bread at home and you want to have a business, you now have a viable business. We can literally fly to you, pick up the bread straight out of your oven and deliver it to 50, 100,000 people for less than the price it costs to charge a battery. So that's the social part. And then the part, I think, more what Richard spoke to, I would call more about viability, economic viability, and rationalizing the cost out of things. And how do you fix all the issues with gig economy labor, with hiring people, with the direction of travel, of cost of people, and the gig economy labor laws that are kind of in flux and changing and going in the wrong direction? Well, we don't need to fix those. We bypass them. So we get rid of all those delivery drivers. And apologies for all the delivery drivers in the audience, but I hope you're going to be out of a job because it's a terrible job and it's a dangerous job. And we replace them with jobs in the community, building small businesses and empowering much more friction-free consumption in suburban communities.
And where are we at with automation? I mean, I know, for example, in the US, a lot of the trend was autonomous or remote-controlled trucking, where it would for example, between a warehouse and a supermarket fixed route kind of stuff, very stable, very predictable. I mean, how is automation factoring into both of your sort of business visions for the future?
Yeah, that's. I just thinking about is the truck which you were mentioning, and so the drone delivery is amazing. But the most of our deliveries are the grocery, which are quite heavy, which is the solution for it. It's still you need to find a solution really for the heavy transports, which we cannot just only replace by drones. We have the delivery sold for the food. That's
exactly.
Excellently replaced by this one, but still we have to find a solution for both because people wants to buy not only the small stuff but also the big stuff. Maybe the future in the drones is also for the big ones, but we are still offering these things. The challenges, other challenges for us, because we are still working business to business. It's for example, in our expansion, of course, the old grocery chains are the very, let's say, not very software supported. It means that turning them online, it's still a big challenge for us too.
What about you, Bobby? I mean, obviously you're using drones already, but
Yeah.
is automation a priority?
Yeah, it's funny, Richard hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
A lot of people look at us and say, yeah, but you're never going to be able to carry toilet roll, and we're not going to be able to do groceries, and that's correct. We're in this, what we call for groceries, which is less than 20% of our future, we're in the single basket market, so 8 gallons in volume, 3.5 kilos in weight. So we're replacing the convenience store in that sense. That 3 or 4 mile round trip journey to the convenience store to top up with stuff, right? And that's our space. But on the automation, I think there is a huge industry to serve grocery and the big basket. And I also love the value of that basket, so the margin that's in there to make it work. And I know a lot of good companies in the space, and I actually really like them, and I think they're viable things. But we're thinking differently. We're thinking a bigger scale. We're thinking, fun fact, 40% of the households in the communities we serve use the product 1.6 times a month per household. This is something that is ubiquitous. Everyone uses it, and they use it frequently. So that's what we want. What we want is to be meaningful to every single suburban household on the planet on a frequent basis. And that's why we sell coffee. It's why we have our deal and an investment from Coca-Cola. It's why we have a deal with Ben & Jerry's, with Samsung, with all these big brands that consumers want on a frequent basis. We think that you're going to have a drone coming to your house every week when we get to scale. And that's it's a lower margin, it's smaller basket value, but because we can get the cost so low down for that part of the automation. Automation for me is not about cool or any of that stuff, it's about unit economics. Can I give a customer or a household an all-you-can-eat, literally the Amazon Prime on steroids? Can I get something in a subscription form to every household in a suburb and make money out of it by taking the margin on the product I sell? Yes, I can. And that's where I think drones have a huge advantage.
Just out of interest, I mean, how does it work in urban areas, given that we've
It doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
You're never going to get drones beside tall buildings.
Yeah.
Physically impossible.
Apartments.
And we need something 2-meter diameter flat space to winch the product down onto. So it's high density suburbs.
Makes sense. All right, we've got like a minute left. Is there anything else you'd like to add, either of you? Maybe Richard? You got any concluding thoughts about last mile? Anything you want to tell us that you're working on at the moment that might be interesting?
No, I'm just admiring the solution with the drones, because it's the combination together. It's great because you have the areas where you can deliver with the bikes, where you can deliver with the people, where you can deliver with this type. And what we are doing, we are trying to combine more things together. That's our way. And of course, you need to balance the demand of the customer, because for food, the demand is in the lunchtime. Of course, there are various demands in the other type of the deliveries, and that's what we are doing. And then we are using the different type of the transport to the customer.
So we're talking cargo bikes and e-bikes, things like that?
Sure that cargo bikes is a typical one. And all of them, you need to combine together, because there are the distances. Some of the households are distant. You can use the drone, of course. The other ones are the urban areas where you can use even the dark kitchen deliveries from somewhere, and that's the way how we are doing it. I think we can cooperate together. I'll be happy to do so.
Yeah, I know I've been posited this idea that a drone could fly to a central place, and then you'd have an e-bike or some such delivering from there.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, for the thing I'd leave the audience with is, funnily enough, what Europe is great at is regulating. And in our case, that's a structural advantage in the case of drone delivery, because you can't do drone delivery without very well-defined regulations. And Europe aced this as they didn't do with GDPR and pretty much everything else. So we're in a funny situation that Europe is now leading the world in drone delivery, and within that, we're a player, and Wing, Google's drone delivery program, are a leader too. So the way to think about this is Europe will, over the next 3 to 5 years, I would expect us to be scaling in every important market in Europe, in every large suburb, in every important market. And that's because of European regulations. But the problem is we don't have the funding in Europe to power that type of hyper-growth, big capital needs business. So there's got to be, when you look at the USA, which is stuck in regulatory purgatory, as I love to say, it'll be interesting to see how that evolves. And I think what we're going to see is, and it's happened before, but a lot of US funds are going to start betting on companies in Europe for drone delivery, where we can excel, we can go first, we can get the product into scale. And then I think, unusually, you're going to see European companies going to the USA and beating the US companies there.
Inspiring stuff. And we are out of time, sadly. Yep. I'm sure we could have spoke for another half an hour, but thank you so much, everybody, for being part of our discussion today.